Hello, everybody. Welcome to GT Live. I'm your host, Brandon Jones. I got Kyle Bosman here, who loves the community, and the community loves Kyle. He's going to be in the chat. We have a great giveaway that I'm super excited about before we get into our guest and our game that we were playing, which is also very exciting. Tonight, we are giving away one code for the Season Pass for PS4 for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And all of the maps,
all of that DLC.
all the crazy stuff that they're giving out. We got one delicious code for all of the cool stuff, including Awakening. Is that the...
That's the one that just came out.
That just came out. It's got new zombie stuff. We just streamed it the other day. So if you want this and all of the awesome stuff that is coming to Black Ops 3, we invite you to ask questions for our guest and our game, which is one and the same thing. Our guest is Mr. Sean Vanneman from Campo, Santo, here showing off Firewatch, which comes out next week. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is great. This is really cool.
Congrats on an awesome game. I have not finished it yet. I played a bunch last night.
Oh, great.
It's real great.
Thank you.
It is a very fun game.
That
I'm
is
looking
so
forward to talking
exciting
about
to
it.
finally do press and have people be like, I have played it. Because our game has been like around in the zeitgeist. Oh, go walk around before you go up there. This is the, sorry. Is it okay if I just yell
Yeah, of course,
directions?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I want you to yell at Michael Huber as much as possible.
The nighttime of this game makes me so stupidly happy.
And just I got to pick my words carefully because we'll get into spoilers or the difficulty of not spoiling things later.
Right.
But
that's why it's so fun to talk to people who've at least played it. Like that's like a crumb of satisfaction because we spent so long, like a year, talking about this game without talking about this game because it's story driven. Like Jake and I, who started Campo Santo, worked at Telltale making only story driven games. We worked on season 1 of The Walking Dead, and like that has a twist and a dramatic ending and things like this. So that's in our DNA. And then like we're making a new game, fans and press and people, we can't tell you anything
right
now. Like, please care about it, please.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Telltale. We've never played Telltale on GT Live before because we'd spoil it for everybody. You know, we're like, it's tough to pick that part of the game, especially, you know, like once you get into chapter 2, 3, 4, 5 of a season, it's like, well, we can't even show the first 5 minutes of this because then, wait a minute, where's that character? What happened to that person?
Right.
But
it's good. So this is effective. Just so I'm clear, this is B-roll right now, right? Like essentially, it's in the background. People are like looking at this at home.
They will always be behind the monitors
All right,
too,
cool.
and right there, yeah.
Right.
it can be wherever you want it to be shown.
And we can even go full screen.
Oh yeah.
We can even watch Huber playing it.
Mr. Michael
there he
Huber
is.
is
Yep.
there's he got the cam on him. Oh, he's
going the wrong way.
He's
No,
leaning
you're
in.
fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. You have
it
a
did
map
go in
right
the
now.
tower, and I went like the other way.
Yeah, I mean the game is obviously set up to like, you should go in that tower. You're not going to get lost between going the thing that you're looking at and telling you to go there. But I've made you go somewhere else, so now you are in the wilderness. But that's the joy of the game.
Well, maybe we can start talking about time of day, which is something, you know, I have to cross-reference, like, is this a spoiler? No, it's not. I can talk about time of day. You see this environment during
it
various...
takes place on Earth.
Yeah.
We surround the sun. It's
true.
Yeah.
Time passes.
Yeah. It rotates on its axis.
And you do kind of pop into different days, you know, in this person's life at different times of day. And I was wondering, like, is that something that naturally happens while you're playing, or do you like maybe cue certain events to kind of push time forward? How did you handle that?
So we did a weird thing when we were making the game, which was we talked to a bunch of friends who were really amazing tech artists in the game business who had made things that had beautiful lighting, and most of them said, real-time light your game with a sun because it'll look better and it'll look great. And we went, really? We can do that? Like, we were so dumb. And it was like, yeah, you can do that. You have the power. So that was the decision that was made with like Jane and Paolo and Ollie, the art team. And we ended up. Oh, you can't get in there yet. You think you can get in there yet?
He's gonna try.
You gotta learn. You
Scoping it
gotta
out.
learn stuff. You gotta learn. You gotta engage with your story. You gotta engage this game, my friend.
Do what you're told, Huber. What are you doing? Just wandering
Or
around?
not.
Come on.
Like, that's the whole.
Play
Like,
the game
don't do
right,
what you're
dude.
told,
Jeez.
but don't think you can get in there. Look at that moon. Where was I? So yeah, to do what we did, the game has a sun, like morning, noon, and night, and all the times in between. But it's driven by kind of what happens in the story, because as you'll see when. Oh, he's out on the river. Once he eventually gets inside and meets Delilah, it'll, like, that moment, this is your first day on the job. It's day 0 is what we call this. Like, we'll have its, like, most interesting end. And then the game cuts and we start in the afternoon of day 1. Like, you don't get to see the sun come up on that day. You'll see the sun come up on other days, but not this one. So we do time of day based on, like, story, basically. and you might walk out to complete a mission and then learn something surprising that's happening elsewhere in the woods and walk towards that. And on your journey to that, it might become afternoon because that's what feels right and makes sense. And for you should never question that. Like as a player, you're just like, of course it's the afternoon. Like I can see the sun in the sky. Like I understand what time of day it is. But to pull that off, we just had to build the system that you build if you're making Far Cry. We just had to build a sun that went, and a system that like Ollie and Jane and everyone else could go, yeah, at this moment, make it 3 o'clock. And the sun just goes like, and like everything, the colors change and everything.
Wait, I thought sun made the clown noise. Where
it does. It actually goes boing. It's a very strange creative choice we made.
What was the skiing game that Blair loved?
Ski Free.
Is it called Ski Free? No,
wait, Ski Free? Like you mean from like Windows 3.1? Like where the and the Yeti comes and gets you?
Skiing game.
Was it called Snow?
Eventually, a Yeti comes and eats you.
Like,
and like,
yeah, obviously it's Ski Free. The only one.
Ian, can you help? Ian Hank on the
Dynamic
TriCaster.
Ski Free.
I think it's Snow. I think it was called Snow.
Yeah, there's a skiing game called Snow where you literally, I think it's the shoulder buttons control the sun, and you can actually while you're skiing down the hill, have the sun just like rotating around the
like
earth
real life
on super speed. Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty great. So you get all the dev
simulates
tools.
being on ecstasy, I guess, while snowboarding or something, which is probably not something you should do.
Which I've never tried, but
Don't do that.
now I'm tempted to.
I haven't, but I just assume it's terrible.
So I gotta wonder. Yeah, so it's an interesting pace. You moving between these different days, and it's not chronologically like you do skip a couple days in the interest of the story. And there was one in particular where the day began, and I was actually away from the tower, kind of like already on my way to doing something. And
we're dipping into the spoiler
we're getting
territory.
heavy. Yeah, heavy spoiler
bit, so be
territory.
careful.
Walking
Let's not get
towards
too
something.
heavy because more stuff will come out.
But I was wondering, were there moments where you sped up the story a little bit? Like, did you ever put things in and then realize like, we don't want to have the players hike that much or walk that far. We kind of want to pick up the pace a little bit and move them directly to the important story.
So we don't ever teleport you like that because we kind of look at it more holistically. We go, it'd be really easy. Like, here's the thing: fire lookouts, really boring job.
Right.
Kind of the most boring job there is. So we shouldn't simulate that because then we're making a boring game. Like, Henry is the worst fire lookout ever. Like, we're gonna he'll get acclimated with his lookout here. The lights will turn on.
Ooh, cool. Here we are.
Pick up the radio and meet his boss. And then once he starts doing the job, it's like moments before he's like leaving my post to go explore. And so you have to make a decision as a game designer. Like, are you simulating something because you feel like that thing should be simulated because it's the way real life is? Or are you doing it because it's the most entertaining, enjoyable, meaningful thing a player can be doing? Like this game isn't Cart Life, and I love Cart Life. I love Cart Life. I love Cart Life so much. But it's not like, and now sit in your tower for the next day and a half until something interesting happens. That's just not the way we work as a company. So if you go to the left, there's the lake in real life. So a previous tenant, has reimagined your space through the lens of fantasy dorkness.
That's pretty cool.
It all will tie into the story as you'll learn who put that there eventually. Henry journals every day. You found the D20. Look at all the secrets you're finding. You're the best at Firewatch. You're the best at this game. Look at that grip. Oh, the grip of that D20 makes me really happy.
I like the toss.
You did it? You got it in there? Yeah, good.
What'd you get?
Boop. There it is. It was so fun. So I'd never worked on a first-person game, and it's so funny because we're going to be giving away a Blops pack, but I'd never worked on a first-person game, and I never worked on a game with a physics system, which sounds insane, but I hadn't. And that moment that just happened, you're like, oh, I want it back. Open and close the drawer, and it rolls to the front. Delicious. So good. We didn't have to animate that. That is just video games being video games. That doesn't mean you're not going to find a weird bug with that later, but
there you go.
See what I roll.
What did you get? You
still
might
going.
roll. Can you see it? I don't know. It might be too low res.
One more time.
Is it a custom animation for throwing the die?
He has.
That's what we're gonna do for the rest of the stream.
I wouldn't mind.
We need to find. I wonder if there's a spot. I'm trying to think of a spot where it is
Quit, Oleg.
it can be contained. So yeah, this is not behaving like a real D20. I bet that thing is physically a ball.
Maybe in the sink. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We got to get it into the sun though. Can you?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
No whammies. No whammies. What if it rolls
20, get
forever?
that 20.
18!
18! Great roll!
That ain't
Solid
bad.
roll, man. You're so good at video games. That's amazing. That was really special that just happened. What was I talking about?
All sorts of
custom
stuff,
animation. Oh, he has a couple throws. You can hold like the throw button for longer, and he'll like.
Oh, okay.
Oh man,
wind up?
actually, speaking of that,
Good to know.
go downstairs. We're gonna go to those fireworks eventually, but this is like we'll just have fun here.
Ooh, I love that.
Oh yeah, so the body awareness stuff was like something we knew day one we wanted to do.
Having feet in a first-person game is exceptional. I love that.
You
Not
know
a
why
lot of
it's
people do that.
exceptional? Because it's almost impossible to do. Like it is so hard. Like strafe left and right a little bit. Oh, while the map is out, even better. Look at those steps. James Benson, our animator, like is a wizard. He's amazing. He's like a boy genius. He lives in a small town in England and just makes Henry a human. That's all he does. And getting that stuff to work is like day one. We're doing this for sure. Day 100, like 365 into development, we're like, we are idiots. We are the stupidest people on earth. I understand why nobody else does this. It's so hard. You should go to your outhouse. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go to the bathroom, but
No. Demonstrate this. Let's see.
there's,
this.
I'm just in terms of throwing stuff.
It was.
It's to the right.
I gotta say, I'm really nervous when you're talking about throwing stuff in the outhouse.
Yeah, you can go in there. Oh, you can
The
put anything in
baseball.
the
I found the
outhouse.
baseball.
You already found it already?
Earlier, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
So
threw it in the toilet.
if you hold on to that, you can probably reach in there and get it.
No, you can't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
that has like, its throw. If you hold it, it really. I think you can throw pretty far. I think he really winds up and goes. Yeah, that's like the furthest thing you can throw. That wasn't very impressive. Henry was on the JV.
I don't know if that
JV
D20 rolled
baseball
that
team.
much. I think that ball's gone.
Can I take the?
You can find. I mean, okay. So technically,
It's
how video
gone.
games are made,
Yeah.
it's theoretically impossible that thing could roll out of this sector.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it could
Nice.
roll for a while and then fall through the world eventually, I suppose. Like technically, I shouldn't. That's not why you're gonna buy the game. Like I'm just being.
I'm buying this
You had
for
me at
baseballs.
D20.
You had
me at baseball
fallen-
outhouse.
Yeah, we were gonna call the game Baseball Outhouse, but strangely, it was already trademarked in certain countries. What do we got? What's next?
We're gonna talk about our countdown really quickly, and then we're gonna get back to talking about this excellent game.
Our countdown.
Our countdown for this week is an interesting one, actually. So we do every now and then we like to do one where we get on camera and we talk about something that isn't necessarily us picking like this is the de facto best of, that we're voting that like, our opinion's obviously a part of this, but we really want to get to the truth here and find out what the best of the best is of any particular category. Oh, you almost caught it on the way
You were
back
my
down.
favorite.
Yes.
You were my favorite Firewatch player of all time. I'm sorry, you have a segment. Like this is crazy.
What do you do? He threw
I'm
it
really
up
glad
and
we're
caught it?
taping this. Oh my god.
Nice, Hubert.
Oh, I
You-
dropped it that time.
You were
Oh, okay.
you were allowed to play every Campo Santo game we ever made for the
Nice.
history of the company. Like, man. Okay, you have
So
a
we
segment.
got on camera for the countdown this week, and we did the top 10 most divisive games. So this doesn't mean the top 10 most divisive games like ever. This is the top 10 most divisive games among the GT staff.
Yes.
And we sat down, we picked two people, one to represent the good things, one to represent the bad things. And we had a little argument about every single entry. It's probably going to end up being a 30-minute countdown. Unfortunately, Mr. Matt Blair is not around this week. And so we couldn't do his entry. He couldn't sit in. So unfortunately, his entry had to be pushed to number 11. And that is a pretty divisive game, not only in the GT staff, but in video games as general. And that's Mass Effect 3.
Yes.
Oh man.
And
Sean, are you ready to get in this on this?
I mean, I will contribute as much as I feel like I can without slandering or disparaging my colleagues in the industry. So yes,
Cool.
I understand that game is divisive.
Yeah.
I feel very interestingly about that game from a developer standpoint. But what are your thoughts?
Well, Kyle, you don't hate the game. I played about an hour and a half of the first Mass Effect, and I didn't get into the rest of the series. Not because it wasn't good, but just because I played something else like a dummy.
Mass Effect 3 for me came to a satisfying conclusion in that I played as this Commander Shepard who wasn't ever nice to people, always very mission oriented, and then became the Reapers at the end. Like became a collective consciousness of giant space robot bugs and flew away. And I thought that was the coolest ending of a video game. I thought that was so cool.
So do you think, without spoiling too much, do you think your opinion of the game is significantly affected, your opinion of Mass Effect is affected by the choices that you make? So if you put a ton of stake on that ending, yeah, you might be disappointed. If the way the whole thing ends isn't necessarily important to you as a player, then that might not affect you that much.
Me personally, I am probably the wrong person to ask because I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't think, like, I have zero sort of, like, narrative or creative entitlement when I play games. I'm like, I just sort of let them wash over me and see what happens. I thought it was interesting that Mass Effect 3, like, patched in a different ending. Like, that was a thing where I went, like, I had strong opinions about that. Because I was like, whoa, like, what would I have done if like everyone rebelled on the ending of The Walking Dead or any other game I'd ever worked on? Like, I would probably just be mad and then hide. You know what I mean? Like, thought that was so interesting, and I still don't know how I feel about that.
It could happen with Firewatch.
I can guarantee you it can't happen with Firewatch. I guarantee you that there will be people who don't like the end of this game, and to them I say, we'll do better next time. I hope it was worth your money.
I don't know. Hopefully finishing it tonight. I might have a petition up by tomorrow morning. You never know.
It's not going to be that bad. Like, the thing is, we also don't make that big of a promise, right? Like, if you make this, it's the promise of Mass Effect and the promise of the BioWare games that is, I mean, it's an unfulfillable promise. And I don't mean the fact that BioWare isn't capable of amazing you with a branching narrative. They clearly are. They are the best at it. I mean, your brain's ability to conceive of possibility space is like way better than a computer and way better than the creative product of 500 people. Your brain is a miracle device honed over 1 billion years. Like, so when it happens and you've expected the impossible and you get the possible, some people don't react well to that. And to them I go, like, I'm sorry, life is hard. Like, it's really challenging, And
maybe that's one of the reasons why Mass Effect was so popular in the first place, is because it kind of begged, for those possibilities, for you to dream that much.
Yeah.
And I mean, does it kind of feel good to be not really working on a super heavy expectation laden AAA game, and to be working on a smaller game that takes less time to play, that more people have opinions of sooner, and we can get into the discussion sooner. We don't have to worry about spoilers 3 months after Firewatch comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's always important for us to make games that people can finish. Like, you'll finish this game in a couple nights,
Good to know.
Like, I'm not gonna, like, we would never, like, our PR line is, like, we never say the game's replayable, but, like, people replay this game because once you know everything in the story, you just feel very differently about the world, and it's real. And there's some mechanics in the world, like there's a camera you'll find that really beg for replay. And I find the amount of replay in this game to be really surprising by the couple hundred people who have played it. And anyway, like, we set expectations for, like, we are going to tell the best story, period. Like, we're going to tell a story as good as any single developer, better, as good as any movie studio. We're going to tell a great story, and we're going to have a character relationship that is the best. Like, that is the expectation we want to set, and then let everything else surprise you. Because I feel like it would be really dumb to set sort of, like, all the other expectations. Like, you can technically, I'm sure Jake's going to be really mad that I say this, but you can technically end the game differently. There's a way to make the game end the plot point and be different. You're going to feel very different about the end of the game, no matter who you are, because of the choices you make with your relationship with Delilah. But there's a way to just, like, have a different ending shot of the game and go, like, what the what? But, like, we don't advertise this game as, like, multiple endings. We advertise this game as, like, build your own story around you because of the choices you make and the things you discover along the way.
And one of the things that I enjoyed, again, pretty sure this is not a spoiler, but
it's a spoiler. If Brandon says it's not a spoiler, it's a spoiler.
Well, I'm not talking about one specific moment. So that's why I feel comfortable about it.
I'm going to look you right in the eyes, and I want you to speak very slowly.
Just say the word stop if you need to stop. Okay.
A lot of people generally associate choice with speaking. So they would assume that the majority of the quote-unquote choices you make are based on things that you say. And there's more than that in this game.
Thank you for not spoiling.
There are choices I made, and I didn't know I was making them at the time.
Oh,
and afterwards, something would come back, and I go, right, I did that. I thought I was just playing a game, but if this was real life, that would be weird if I do that. Yeah. Right. So,
you think that's a game?
I passed.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
For my blood pressure went up and is now coming back down.
my spoiler barometer, I think, is functioning correctly.
Is the list that we have to do 10 things?
No, no. We're promoting our countdown for the week.
Oh,
Mass
okay.
Effect did not make the list. Mass Effect is number 11, which is why we call the segment number 11.
I
So when you see the
understand.
when
I
you
was
see
like,
the countdown
this
this
is
week,
going to be a very long segment.
No.
Like, and now
we're
Number
already
10.
back on
Fable
Firewatch.
2. It's
Segment
like, oh my
segment
God.
over. We're already back. Yeah, exactly. But hey, is that a very divisive game for you, the Fable 2 or the Fable series?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I like those games. I like Fable 1 a lot.
Is there a game you argue about with your friends? Is there something where you're just like, oh, that friend of mine that likes that game, what a schmo?
It'd probably be the opposite in that my friends argue with me about games that I like, and I'm like, it's good.
Oh yeah, we have that. We have like,
Yeah.
absolutely have that.
Gosh.
Don't
Oh,
pressure
you know
yourself.
what? Oh, this is for all you Idle Thumbs fans out there. Like, Far Cry 2 is a game that is good and that is divisive, and Far Cry 2 is a great video game. Far Cry 2 is a top 10 video game of all time, and that's I really feel very
Wow.
I really feel very strongly about this.
What about Far Cry 3 or 4?
They're
hadn't-
great, but they're not Far Cry 2.
I played 1, and I hadn't played another game until 4, and it blew me away. I was really surprised with how well that game team
Sean,
came together.
if you worked at Game Trailers, you could have been in this countdown trying to defend Far Cry 2.
Oh,
Who would
trying
go
to
up against him
defend?
for 2?
Trying
Would it
to
be
defend,
you?
there would just
I
be like
guess so.
passed out bodies around
Yeah.
me, and me
It did
just
get
like
brutal.
clutching like a picture of Clint Hawking, who's the game director of that game.
It absolutely got brutal. Yeah, we had some brutal conversations.
Yeah, so that's the one I would probably go to.
Was
the
Far
map
Cry
for.
2 an inspiration for Firewatch? Is there
Bring
any?
up that map. Yeah, Far Cry 2 map. Yeah, of course. There's like a cloth map in Far Cry 2 that obscures your vision, except you're being chased by like rebels with rocket launchers, and you're like, no, I don't know where to go.
Which to be perfectly honest, I felt was missing from this game. I mean, I thought
We thought about it, you know.
I wanted
it was really gonna up the
Libyans to
fire-
show up in a van with a rocket launcher,
It
but
was just,
sadly
like,
never happened.
Suitcases of diamonds. No, that game is so like. I mean, there is so much inspiration in this game from that game. Like the
Interesting.
body awareness, the map, living in a contiguous space, a story that doesn't try to make you feel something that just happens, and then at one point you go like, "Oh, this is the type of person that I am."
You'll like
the thing that I
this,
love
Kyle. You can clean up the cans. Hold down the circle button.
you
Yeah,
can,
look,
you can
clean
throw him on
it
the
up.
ground too, and he'll say something, and he'll go, "Nope, I don't do this job."
Really?
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, once we realized we'd built the tools for all that reactive dialogue stuff, like that was really exciting. To be like, there's a moment.
Good job, Hubert,
Where
good job.
Delilah asks
Cleaning
you.
up the cleaning up nature.
There's a moment where Delilah asks you what you're looking at, and there's a couple things that you can be looking at in that time, and if you look at some of them or specific ones, like Henry just says like, I'm looking at this, and then it can surprise Delilah. It can just be like, okay, well, I need you to look at this instead. That reactive dialogue stuff, like, oh man, like I just want to double down on that in the next game. Like, if we make a game that looks like this and feels like this again, if people like it, if you can buy it on Steam right now, you can pre-order it. Yeah, like that stuff is like so exciting to make. I really like it a lot.
It's interesting to hear you talk like that because I think we're used to hearing about these timelines where people know with the games that they're making 3 years in advance. And
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds really
right?
boring, actually. Yeah.
And so you're at this point where this is your game. This is all you're working on.
Like we're not like totally irresponsible to ourselves. Like we have ideas and things we've learned and stuff we're interested in doing next. But we're 10 people who worked on this game. We have like most of those people are Campo Santo employees, but some aren't. And yeah, we just sort of focus on one thing and then see how it goes. That's the way we do it, like. Yeah, I mean, we have ideas. There are people on the team who have ideas, people on the team who have even prototype stuff for other things. I have ideas, but it'll be a reaction to how this game did. It'll be a reaction to what people thought about this game, what we thought about our own game. We're still building a lot of opinions about our game still. It feels like the right way to go.
Can you toss around the bra and panties? Yeah,
You
yeah.
put
he
on
just
the
dropped
bra and
it.
panties. No, I think those are down on the ground.
Oh, okay.
That was actually an interesting design decision, right? Because like, here's the thing: we wanted these bra and panties in the game because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Grown adults working on a video game.
Absolutely.
You can talk about those, but and he goes panties. Very funny.
It's Rich Sommer, right?
Yeah, from Mad Men. Yeah,
That's cool.
And but the design decision there is like, well, if you can keep those, what does that say about you as a character? And is that inside the realm of possibility for this character? And like, can we walk Henry back from that? And we didn't know if we, like that's like things like that are really interesting. Oh yeah.
So if he kept it,
This
the
is
game
ours
would
now.
like be too creepy.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
that felt over the line for us. And you're gonna no. You bring it with you. Of course, you listen to hot jams in the canyon. That's what I do at least. You can do whatever you want.
You can take that boombox with you for the rest
Yeah,
of
you
the
can put
game?
it back down.
Cool.
Like you pick it up and they.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, it's fine. You do you, man. This is you play your game.
You are no longer the greatest.
Let's go find something
Firewatch
cool
player.
though. We'll go.
Keeps
in
the
a second.
baseball, throws away the radio.
So like no, I mean, so this was a really interesting scene to build. There's a developer at the company named Patrick whose job it was to like just own this space. His name is Patrick Ewing, actually. So if you enjoy the NBA, former Georgetown, New York Knicks big man, future Hall of Famer, I guess current Hall of Famer, same name, but not him. Although that would be amazing.
Hard to Google.
Yeah, hard to Google. All at Hoverbird on Twitter, but he owned this area. And every single time we sort of added one element, he just like oh no, because it was like you can pick up their boombox and the girls freak out, and then you can like put it back down and they calm down, and then you can pick it back up and throw it in the lake and they freak out, or you can like walk away with it and they freak out. You can just like skis your way through here, where like you're just like you walk up and you see two girls like playing with sparklers and skinny dipping in the lake, and you can be like nope and just sort of like walk along the back of the area there, and then like just as you're about to get out of frame they're like, is that a guy over there? And you're like, oh no. And like they'll react. So we had to think of literally with like we had an object and a pickup system and a walking around system, and it just created this like insane matrix of player reaction from those girls that used to be out there. God, can you find the boombox laying out there?
No, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I think it might have gone too deep.
We're going to pause for station identification. Station meaning we are GameTrailers.com. And it is we are past time for
That
a
was
game
professional.
trailer.
I
I
hear
just wanna say-
sports announcers say that a lot.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man,
really
I'm
want to
so-
say how beautiful this is. This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, I'm blown away.
I mean, I'm saying thank you on behalf of Ollie and Jane and Paolo and Ben, but yeah,
Could stare at this for days.
you can. It's your choice. It's your game. Yeah. This is your copy, so.
This just really quickly on a personal note, one of the reasons why this game affects me emotionally is one of my favorite gaming memories was The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Kyle. And I left Dragon Roost Island, I believe, and there's the dragon on top of the island animating, and I sailed away, and at one point I was like, I wonder if I can still see that island. And I like turned around and looked through the
go around
scope,
the
and I could not only still see the island, I could see the dragon animating on top of the island, even though I was like a mile away. And that blew my mind. Like I felt so immersed in that world that I actually see this thing from a distance. And being able to see Delilah's tower, being able to see, like a fire that comes up in the distance, or other locations that you've been to. There's lots of great signals. Remind me a little bit of Alan Wake, actually, which I'm curious if you've played, because there's a lot of location viewing in the distance where they're just like, you got to get up to that spot that you can see, head in that direction.
I love that stuff.
So I love it too. And that's what I love about this game. We're going to pause really quickly and watch a long trailer. Mr. Brad Ellis came in and he said, you know what the badass trailer is for this week. And I was like, no, I don't know. Oh, of course I know what it is. It's 3.5 minutes of Final Fantasy 15 gameplay.
Also going to be 3.5 minutes of like Nico Atsume DLC was what I was hoping for, but we'll go with Final Fantasy 15.
Well, maybe we can do that later.
Just cats rolling around.
If you can dig up that file and hand it to Mr. Ian
What if
Hank
I
on
just
a...
held my iPhone like up to the screen and said, we'll just watch
We'll see where the conversation goes after the trailer. We might come to that.
Okay.
But we got 3 minutes of new gameplay. Mr. Kyle Bosman's going to cover his eyes for this. But if you guys don't want, if you guys are not on a complete media blackout and have not seen this video, I'm still a little skeptical about 15, and I think this is pretty damn cool.
If you don't want to watch this trailer, we just redid the Firewatch website, so you can go there for
or you can
3.5
do that,
minutes
right?
and come back.
So we'll see
It's
you in
a
3.5
beautiful
minutes.
website.
You waited until now to redo the website?
Yeah, launch week. We just decided, you know what? Let's just make it look even better.
Okay.
So,
Or you
yeah.
can watch this trailer. It's badass. Check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that part where he casts fire. There's a time where he casts fire, Kyle, which you do in a Final Fantasy game. That's not a
It's
spoiler.
one of my least favorite things.
Casting
is when
fire.
People make fun of people who don't like spoilers. It's
Me
like one of my
too.
least favorite jokes.
I got your back, Kyle.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I think you have a lot to look forward to this video game.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
It's like, remember when all the people were just like, yeah, I'm going to say some fake Star Wars spoilers because you care about spoilers. It's like, come on. I care about a thing.
Can I?
And I care about you
aside,
caring about that
there is,
thing, Kyle.
like, okay, something I found out because I'm not a big spoiler person. Like, I mean, it sucks, obviously, but
Yeah.
I realized over Christmas break, because this happened twice.
Okay.
There was nothing worse than being in the room when someone was spoiled for Star Wars accidentally.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, just being like hearing a friend be like, just like looks at a billboard and is just like, hey, it's that dead guy
Oh, yeah.
of a billboard
Yeah.
with a character on it. And then in the car, like one person being like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I'm busy. I work a lot. I have tickets to go literally tomorrow.
Yeah, I
hate
own
you.
the tickets.
Like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you. And you're in the car and you're just like, oh no. Like, it's nothing. I have like empath anxiety of just being in the room and being like, oh,
Well,
when
see,
it happens.
but see, that's why, you know, it's
I'm tweeting that I'm on this right now.
It doesn't really
Yeah.
bother me, you know, if we spoil Firewatch because they aren't in the room right now. So, you know, if somebody's already pre-ordered Firewatch and we spoil it for them, it's no big deal to me, you know. It's just
Nobody-
like that
no.
because they're not
Get out.
here.
Oh, my gosh.
There's the door. Oh my god. Turn this mic off.
I'll open up a nice vague topic when it comes to Firewatch. It's something that I think, you know, looking at a wallpaper for this game, you could probably surmise is that isolation is a major theme in this game. And it's something that you definitely go out of your way to reinforce. You know that
Sure.
that Henry he's on his own out here. You know, there obviously there's some, you know, pretty ladies skinny dipping and stuff like that.
You don't know they're
for
pretty.
the most part.
They could just be, you know, who knows what ladies they are.
This is true.
Yeah.
But was that
I'm just saying.
was
Let's
was,
not.
was isolation really important for you? Is that something that attracts you as a developer, or was it just naturally did naturally fit the theme of this game?
Yeah, it fit the theme of the game, but we also didn't want people to think that like we just isolated you because we didn't want to have people around. So that's why we put people into the opening of the game, and then you'll see another person here in a little bit. I believe. I know where we are. Did you just have a moment? You went like,
Oh yeah, he's prepping. He's
No,
thinking.
no, I'm good. I didn't have a moment.
okay. I thought.
Well,
You
this
wanna-
is embarrassing. I mean, we've drawn attention to it. You know, sometimes when you're drinking coffee, you have to stifle coffee burps.
Oh, okay.
That's what that was.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I understand. Hey.
And I, you know, tried to look like a normal human as I stifled my coffee burp.
You're
But
disgusting, Kyle.
No, you look like a soccer mom who had just like whose daughter had just done something really uncouth. You're like, Jennifer, what have we talked about?
You know
that kind of explains all that. That's all right.
What
That's
is it,
all right.
Ian?
the best thing about all this is that I was on full screen B-roll when he did it. So
Oh, good. So
yeah,
he
he
we
didn't
never
didn't
would have
know.
known.
unnecessarily call
This is
attention
what we
to
call
himself.
good television, folks.
Yep.
Yep. He did. Okay, hold on. This is important.
Kyle had some coffee burps.
We were talking, Brandon and myself. We were
was-
having a conversation.
My next
Kyle,
question was going
in
to be
the
regarding
middle of
the
that
cast.
conversation, went like this. and then returned to us 2 beats later. I pointed it out, as you may remember. If you're just joining us, wait a second.
Let me go back to the beginning.
Let me go back to the beginning.
Yeah, I was genuinely
I made a
concerned.
goof about what he did, but you didn't see it because of the way
Okay.
cameras and television
When you drink
work.
other beverages, do you burp less than coffee?
Or more.
Absolutely. Like water, no burps out of water.
Is that like every time you sip coffee, you're like, oh, here come the coffee burps?
That's
like every
interesting.
time?
That's
I
probably
don't
like
like
a
where this
diaphragm issue,
episode is
actually, like
heading.
a muscle spasm thing.
It might be.
You have a sensitive system. It's okay. You're a sensitive man.
Sensitive man.
You're gonna love
sensitive system.
Firewatch, available on Steam right now for pre-order for $19.99.
I do
10%
like-
off during the pre-order.
I like how
actually.
much you're observing Huber, though. You are interested in Huber's playthrough of your game, which is always
I think
cool.
I find him to be quite fascinating. Yes, and all the things he's doing. That is a thing that was really weird playing this game 100 times and watching people play this game hundreds of times, is that it just looks different the whole time. People have different play styles. People have just different weird habits with the controller. It makes me feel like they're different Henrys. It's very strange. Yeah, I like watching him play. I find that like if people start streaming this game next week, that there are going to be some people who are just good at streaming this game, which is a weird thing to say. You know, like that just have a performative flair to their like playthrough of the game, and I'm kind of excited to like see that. I will like jump into chat.
But there's
and-
definitely like a play style you would hate to see.
No, not really. I mean, we sort of like tried to design the game around systems and verbs that meant that like even the most annoying player in the world couldn't like mess it up.
Like
you
how
know?
we can't keep the underwear.
Right. It's just
Yeah.
the person who's just sitting there walking over the underwear. I'll be like, I'll be mad at myself. That's the thing, actually. That's a good point. Like, I didn't realize that, but when something like that happens in the design of the game, we're not mad at the player. We're just mad at ourselves. We're just like, oh, we could have done better. Like, well, we could have made that desire that person has right there. Like, we could have fulfilled that in some way, shape, or form. Every time we didn't do that, it's just like 1,000 knives. And it kind of like makes me want to make a game like I don't know how you would ever do this, but like make a game that was like Firewatch, story-driven content, that we had like made the promise with the customer up front that we were updating in real time. Like every week there's just like new responses and new stuff, and I don't know what the setting of that would be, or maybe that's our next game now. It's probably not. But you know, like it makes me want, having made this game and having the design of it be so responsive to playtest and things we as developers wanted Henry to be able to do, I'm just like, oh man, I have like the desire to keep doing stuff like that. Anyway.
What's an example of something like that, where a person playtesting the game said, oh, I really wish I could do that. And you're like, you know what, we should add that into the game.
Like every single thing we just did, like all the stuff we outlined down at the lake, there was like original design of Firewatch, go to the lake, have conversation with like upstart teens, leave. That was the original design. And now
Sure.
it's like,
So someone said,
Systems pool.
if I put down the boombox, they should calm down. And you're like, yeah, you're right. We should do
well, it's
that.
like
yeah.
I want to. It's like, oh, and I picked it up. I wanted them to react.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah, good point. Good idea. Like it might have been one of us that said that, and then it might have been like Ollie or playing the game, and I was like, oh yeah, we can do that. Like there's an event that fires under the hood. Like when you picked up that antler, there was an event that fired that was like on pickup antler. Like I know that happened. It's right there. So I can just create a response to that event that is like a line of dialogue. Anything, I can just make it. And so we had the event on pickup boombox, and the girls freak out. And then he's like, well, then I threw it in the lake and they didn't do anything. I'm like, all right, well, now they gotta, okay, so how do I do that? The event that fires when the clip plane of the boombox goes through the clip plane of the lake, now that's got a custom event. Well, it's like, well, what if I haven't started talking to them yet? I'm like, oh my God. You know, and like,
Yeah.
and it's just, a year later, you have a Firewatch, like, you know. But I'm sort of like still really, like I'm totally into that as a thing that we discovered along the way as a design sensibility. It's really cool.
I got more questions, but we got a code to give away. And we
Absolutely.
have lots of questions that you've been gathering, and I'm
I need my
dying for them.
blops.
Yeah, exactly.
Says-
You don't get no blops. Community
That's
gets
fine.
the blops.
Whatever.
Someone in the community gets the
Came all
blops.
the way
Who gets the
here.
blops, Kyle?
This is tough. Brandon, I hate that you're making me pick one question. But let's do it. Let's just pick one question. Like, that's the best question?
No, you.
Do you want to give
Is
me
it the first
3?
time you've done this, Kyle?
Do you want to give me
Yeah.
3
You
and
pick
I'll answer
multiple
one?
questions,
Uh-huh.
and then one of those questions on your own. You don't have to say it here on the air. You
No,
pick
that's
as the
not
winner,
right. That's not how we do this.
and then off the air, you give out the code. You
Let's
give it
do
to
this.
someone, you say, congratulations, I liked your question best.
Let's do this.
Yeah, this is
Sean,
like, what, the 40th episode of the show?
That's not how I've done it. You never sent out the passwords.
This is true.
Okay, so Sean, pick J, K,
Rowling.
or G. Give me
Oh.
a J, K, or a G. What do you like?
Let's see.
Whoa.
My dad's name is James.
So not J, right?
I like my dad. We're tight. We're cool. We'll go with J.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a long question here. Here we go. This is Joetown17. You just won that. You won that code.
Congratulations, Joe Tan.
Okay.
It's my favorite town.
Courtesy Sean. I think that video games these days show too much in their trailers. I understand this is essential to create interest in order to sell copies, but so far, I feel like I have seen very little of Firewatch, and I still know that I absolutely want to play it. How do you walk the line of showing or not showing content in a trailer? Is it ever tempting to show some of the juicier bits in the trailer in hopes that it may lead to more sales?
Yay, that was one of my questions.
Oh,
Good
cool.
question,
cool.
Joe Tan.
Oh man, this is a fun one
Yeah.
to answer because this is like Game Trailer's exclusive Campo Santo like internal happenings. So trailer 1 for Firewatch shown at PAX 2015, correct? No,
No, that was
2014.
2014, right.
First Firewatch trailer, PAX 2014. None of that was in the game. Like that was us going, we know what the game story kind of is. And
Let's
I know
take it to PAX.
Yeah, well, that's the way we design the. That's the way we
Yeah.
schedule our game. All of our milestones are customer facing. It is like we're going to PAX. We got to entertain people for 90 seconds.
Sure.
It's like, okay, we're going to GDC. People have to be able to play this game for at least 15 minutes. Okay, we're going to E3, doing a trailer on the stage at the Sony press conference. We have to entertain people for 60 seconds.
Wasn't
Like-
Game Informer like a thing too?
Did we do a Game Informer thing? Maybe.
I think you did a Game Informer thing. I think it was like a
Maybe.
big deal. It was like Firewatch.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Might have been IGN.
That's where I
thing?
learned about the game.
Are we mentioning your competitors?
No, I never
Or
touched.
no, it was
a-
PC Gamer.
What?
Great article in PC
Okay.
Gamer.
Oh,
about
okay, yeah.
Firewatch.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that stuff's on the periphery. but
Yeah. Okay.
the big sort of like media stuff, we just build to those moments, so that way it keeps us really honest, right? We don't have to, the way we ended up putting the game together and structuring it and financing it and things like this. All of our milestones, every single one is for customers. Like we never go, well, we got to show this to the publisher, and we really know they like this type of stuff, so let's put that other stuff that we think is really good, that we think gamers are really gonna like, over here, and then only show them this exciting stuff. Like we just don't care about that. We only care about like, okay, these are the 3 or 4 times in development we're gonna entertain people, and it means that we're focusing on you guys, and because you guys are really the only people who matter, like literally it, and which is the way to make games, I think. And then, so first trailer, we just wrote stuff I wrote stuff that was like dumping it all into the garbage after this. Like, here are some of the areas. This is the look we're going for. We had a tiny chunk of the game built, and we said, what's our target? And like, we're going to build it in the engine so we don't like make a promise we can't cash. But other than that, like, we're just going to like make a trailer that feels like the game, and then walk out of PAX and go, whoa, we have to do that now, you know? And then our big trailer, our E3 trailer that we showed it in the Sony presser was, we have the game finished. I know the coolest part of the story, but I really want people to know that this is a mystery story that is tense and not like camera drifting through woods art house game. Like mystery, emotion, that stuff's in there, but it's like we wanted people to walk out of that theater and go, whoa, like that is a story I want to know what happens. And that was really important. So we took dialogue from the game and pieced together something that was a representation of the mystery you're going to experience, but set it in different places to not spoil it.
Was there an inner struggle? Someone said, we have to put this in the trailer, and someone else said, no.
It's never a struggle. We go, what are the things that are like that will accomplish that goal? Like it's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to cut a trailer and you actually say, what are we trying to communicate? Like we want people to realize that this is not that we want people to realize that this is a like tense mystery and not just an indie arty whatever comes out of my brain thing. Then now we have a goal to achieve as a group, as opposed to just throwing opinions around what we think is good. Like good doesn't matter anymore. Good is a given. But we have a goal, which is, I feel like I just watched a trailer for a new David Fincher movie. So it's like, what do we have that accomplishes that? And then we put everything on the table. We cut different ones. Our friend Derek Liu is an amazing trailer editor, and he helps us. And then we go, that's the one that feels right. And we go, but it's still too spoilery. Like, can we... Like, there are moments in that trailer that we just moved to new areas. I was like, put it there.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, put that moment there. So then when the
love
player gets up there in the game, they're like, oh, this is that moment from the trailer, and it doesn't happen, they're gonna be so bamboozled. Like, they're gonna be so confused. And then when it happens,
stuff like that.
And then when it happens later, they're gonna go, what?
Yeah.
And so that's the way we think about that.
Isn't one of the last shots like a silhouette, like a really far away silhouette?
Yeah, Henry picks up this cut wire
Yeah.
because they've been cut off from the outside world.
Yeah.
And Delilah goes like, you're not in your tower? And he's like, no, I'm out here doing this. And she goes, then who is? And he like whip turns.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a good trailer. I like that one. I like how that ends.
And then we actually just put out 4 mini trailers. This is because we actually cut a launch trailer and we all went like too spoilery or too dull.
Sure.
That was a really bad place to be.
So the solution was let's make 4?
Meanwhile, our friend Derek was cutting these like 15 to 25 second mini trailers that were just like one uninterrupted moment of the game.
Oh, okay.
Like a goof or a sweet moment between Henry and Delilah or something spooky, like what's happening now. He'll figure it out. He knows what he's doing. And we went, okay, those are great. Like, I could watch these all day. Like, it's really fun. It makes me like my own game. So screw it. We're not doing a launch trailer. We're going to do these mini trailers and put them up on our YouTube page and send them out to people and put them on Twitter and all those sorts of things. And yeah, we went that way instead because we could. We didn't have anybody telling us we couldn't. And that was all in the service of the customer. It's like, yeah, if I'm in the middle of my workday and I'm checking Twitter because I'm bored and I can get entertained in 20 seconds before I have to go do my next thing and then see the name Firewatch and go, oh yeah, it's available for pre-order right now, then like, perfect.
It's high shareability. It's very smart, actually.
Yeah.
Shareability is very important.
There's
That's
this
a
thing
word we hear a
called the
lot.
internet.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were really hoping to go viral. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Like one of these 15-second things got to click, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Just gotta go. That's the best thing is when you deal with any sort of outside PR agency, and we've done that a couple times for various reasons. We very rarely do that, but they're like, we're thinking high virality on this. It's like, A, gross, and B, if I get over that word and what you're saying, then good luck, I guess.
Yes, I think we can make this very viral.
I think we can make this very viral.
It's funny,
like,
like,
okay.
yeah, it always cracks me up when people
Okay,
would say something.
Todd.
They're like, so we want to make a viral video for this. I'm like, you can't do that. You
Yeah.
know, it's like going to Vegas and be like, hey, I'm going to turn this handle and win. How about that? Can
Yeah.
can I do
It's
that?
important for us
Like,
to pay for
you can
dinner,
try,
so I'm just gonna
yeah.
just put a quarter in here and we'll go to dinner. Okay, is that what we're gonna do?
Like there are machines. If a machine hasn't had a payout in a while, like maybe the odds are better. You know, but yeah, it's not something you can guarantee on. So
It's really
so yeah.
funny.
Why make one trailer when you can make 4? Then you got
Well, like we don't
you're
think
increasing
like
your
that.
odds of virability.
Yeah, we just think like, what's the best? Like, if I was sitting at home and I wanted to like be entertained for 2 seconds, what would that be?
And I love that. I love that you had this trailer and you just said, no, this isn't working. Let's think of something. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that you're willing to bail on the trailers that were made.
Just sitting in Dropbox waiting for me to do something with it, maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Sean, when we put this on YouTube later, we want this episode to have a high virality. So is there anything?
Well, I mean, we have some
can
hot
recommend?
tips for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When I mean, we want to keep those tips hot. So maybe we'll talk about that after the
Okay,
show's
we'll talk
over.
about them off the air.
But is there any other question for someone who clearly won't win and will be sad when you read their question because they
give me
know
G.
before the
Give
end
me
of the
G.
episode that they're not going to win?
Okay,
give me G-Funk.
Here comes
The
G.
rules are not written by Kyle Bosman.
Firewatch doesn't have a platinum trophy on PS4. What's in the process of making a trophy list? Does not wanting to add unnecessary gamey elements factor into the process?
Great question. I'm really glad this one came.
Cool.
Man, so I'm of like 2 minds on this, but we settled on really, really simple trophies because for 2 reasons. One is when you play the game and you get through the story, having unscheduled, because we like the sort of trophies we'd be putting in would be systems driven, right? It's like you found all the stuff, you like captured this one guy, like this one turtle, and you brought it to your place. You named him this. Having those clash with what you will see to be a story that can be really funny and can be really scary and can be really dramatic and really sad and all those, like it can be the breath of emotion. It was just like bad. it was just, there was nothing worse than having a conversation about Delilah about something serious and then just like, "Boop-a-doop."
Yeah.
And it was like, no, and you can delay them and you can do all these things. And then it was just like, okay, now it's like we're just increasing the QA risk of like, okay, we're going to delay this for like a minute, but like then is it really satisfying? If like, what did I get that trophy for? It was not great. And then I played the game so much, so we settled on very few trophies. And then talking with Sony about like, okay, like if we have so few trophies, like platinum has to come off the table. And we're like, is that something we're willing to do? And we were like, man, people are going to be really bummed if we don't put a platinum trophy in the
Because
game.
it like affects sales, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
having a platinum.
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It sucks that it affects sales because I'm sitting there thinking, do I do that because I want to make more money? And like, or do I do what I think is right for the game? And which is very few trophies, and let the story and the discovery of the things be the payoff. And we went with the way we went, and I don't regret it yet, but I also haven't gotten we haven't sold the game on PSN yet, so who knows? Buy the game, please. Please buy the game.
Well, actually, so
But then, sorry, just to finish up, is that like we put all this stuff in the world, like we found a few things. We found that D20, which is amazing, because then nobody finds that thing. Like we put all this stuff into the world, and then like if we have this trophy list, it's just like here's 40 things that are out in the world. You immediately know how big the world is, and like that list can be really long. You're like, oh, this world is so big, but at one point you're gonna get to the end of that list and go, oh, I found all this stuff, And maybe we hide stuff that's beyond the trophy scope and things like that, or we like make the systems interact in like future surprising ways. But I just never liked that. I didn't like that like we opened up the trophy list and there was like a bunch of grayed out puns, and then I knew how big the scope of the game was. Maybe that'll have proved to have been a mistake, but that's God's honest truth, like how he made the decision. So there you go.
Well, I think it's cool. And Hubert touched on this week on his show. And he was talking about Telltale Games and how similarly they don't have trophies for like make this decision, collect this thing, basically because it kind of passes a judgment on the way you played through the game in having trophies. You know what I mean? And so like I think it's very interesting the way you talk about this game narratively, that the things you do matter. That's your playthrough. That's your way going through it. That there isn't a trophy for picking up the 12-sided die.
Like something. I mean, I'm really just sharing all my ideas. So I need to be very clear right now. This is just me talking off the cuff.
Yeah.
Like not me talking for the company or talking for
GT Live,
Jake
baby.
and everyone else.
Yeah.
But like after I played the game like hundreds of times over the past 3 months, I was like, maybe there's a way that like when the story is over, there's like an open world prestige mode, or we could just put all these like, like
You run twice as fast.
like
and then
you completed the game, so then like all these trophies unlock or something.
Yeah.
And that was an idea I had like at the very end of development, and like we have 2 people who are dedicated to programming. Like everyone at Campo is like pretty capable with like their tiny little sliver of code and whatever they do. I am the least probably of all of them, but we have 2 full-time programmers. This many people. And we have 1 full-time 3D artist. We have 1 full-time 2D artist. So like I remember like playtesting like QAing the game and me like having that idea and just looking at Ben's face, was just like, that's not a real idea, right?
It is a cool idea,
like,
though. It's such a cool idea.
That's one of those things that sort of floats around where we have like a bunch of those. It's not just that. We have stuff that's like, Jake pitched me something that was like other Firewatch stuff, and we have these ideas because we build this world, we have these characters, and we have this like, this thing that we love, and we feel like we got to know really well, and made a really like the experience that we think is really satisfying and complete. But like we're creative people, so it's like we're always like, oh, what if? So buy the game, and maybe we'll just keep making stuff for you guys, and we'll hear the trophy feedback loud and clear maybe next time. But
we'll be able to deliver our feedback next week as we get to review the game next week. So look forward to that. I'm very excited. I'm hopefully going to wrap it up tonight and start writing that script tomorrow.
I'm sorry, Brandon. I have to do one more question.
Oh, geez, real quick.
This comes from Jackrabbit15. Very serious. Was Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door the inspiration for the art style of Firewatch?
Sadly, I have to say that it was not. But Paper Mario and a Thousand-Year Door is this is basically a retelling of that story. I need to just be like come clean and say that yes, like that was the biggest inspiration for
Are
the
you
story
allowed to
of
say
the
this right
game.
now?
I mean, I'm waiting for my cease and desist from the fine folks at Nintendo of America. Hi guys. But yeah, I mean, this is a modern, you know how people do like, oh, this is a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet, or like this is just like Macbeth, but you know,
Right,
whatever.
right.
This is just a 1989 retelling of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
God, I wanted to say something, but I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't know if you guys
because
picked
you were
up on
bugging me
it.
about
Honestly,
spoilers.
I was picking up on it a little
Yeah.
bit when you were up in the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
you
mean,
were
we've
like,
already seen a lot of clues, but it's
There's a
not,
part
you don't
where
find out
Henry
until later.
turns sideways,
Right.
and then like slips through a crack. And there's another part where there's like a crowd of cheering Goombas, and I think we tried to hide it, but what are you gonna do? Sorry.
Way to go,
I
Kyle.
missed the Goomba. I wanted to find it.
It's one.
It's
It
not
would
yet.
have been. It would have been.
I think that's like day 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bump into the Goombas. So really quick before we wrap things up, I want to talk about stuff that you can expect this week on GameTrailers.com. We already talked about our top 10 most divisive games among the GT staff. You can check that out on Friday. We just put up the games of February, including Firewatch, all the awesome games coming out this month. We did 2 trailer scores this week that I'm very happy about. Lego Star Wars Episode 7, which came out yesterday. And today we put up one for Assassin's Creed Identity, which apparently came out in Australia in 2014. Which I didn't know until today, but was released on Ubisoft's official YouTube channel a couple
I have
days
another
ago.
reveal. In 2014, we released a complete copy of Firewatch.
soft launch.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Soft launch.
But only in
In
New
Kuala
Zealand.
Lumpur.
We did a great Hearthstone discussion because, boy, Hearthstone is changing in a month or just in a matter of weeks. They're switching all sorts of systems around in Hearthstone. And Ben Moore sat us down to chat about that. Huber Hype talked about Telltale this week.
Hi guys.
Mr. Kyle Bosman talked about the X button.
Yes.
Somebody had to. Mandatory update presumably will happen, right, Ian?
Yeah.
This weekend there will be a mandatory
yeah,
update.
it's gonna happen. I don't know what it's gonna be
Ian
about.
I just need to know that it needs
sure
to
of
happen.
himself.
That's
I
all
mean,
I need
it's
to know.
gonna happen,
I
but
just need to check that box, Ian.
It'll be bad.
And we got reviews. Mr. Mike Huber played through Bombshell. Is Firewatch better than Bombshell, Mike Huber?
What? Don't put him in that position.
Oh, I'm putting him
you
in that
don't know
position.
Bombshell.
I don't.
Okay.
I just feel bad for the.
5 minutes of Firewatch is
It's better than
Like
8 hours of
Cody.
Bombshell. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man.
Bombshell is the lowest score I think Huber's ever given to a game.
Yes.
That review is worth watching just to see him just trash on a
Oh,
game.
I literally cannot. I will just like, no, I will just not be able to do
But
it.
as the guy who reads the VO for all the reviews, I love reading a bad score. I love it so much. Like those scripts are always the best to read. XCOM 2 we just recently
Tune in
reviewed.
on Monday.
And last week I reviewed Lego Marvel's Avengers. So thematically, I'm going to a very similar game reviewing Firewatch next week. For streams the rest of this week, I'm highly doubtful all these things will happen because we planned multiple Thursday and Friday streams last week that didn't necessarily pan out, but darn it, we're going to try.
Yep.
3 p.m. tomorrow, Gravity Rush with Brad Ellis. 5 p.m.
Sweet.
tomorrow, Digimon Story Super Sleuth with Ben and Kyle.
No, don't you do that.
This is a really good animation.
It's Cyber Sleuth.
Cyber
one?
Sleuth?
Oh, yeah,
it's full
Oh, it's
screen.
Cyber Sleuth.
James Benson, king of the animations.
I really like
It looks
like that arm
locked. You
smack?
don't say. Sean,
Right,
who
because that's
wrote
not
that.
physics, right? That's like the actual like rattle is probably
It's probably animated.
animated. Yeah,
it's probably
that's cool.
animated.
Cyber Sleuth.
Yes.
Okay. You can't use a Super Cyber Sleuth. 6 p.m. Super Smash Brothers, maybe why I did that.
Sure.
For Wii U, Bayonetta and Corrin are coming out soon. The GT crew, meaning anybody and everybody, will be stopping by to play that. Friday at 5 p.m., Mega Dimension Neptunia 7.
No.
I think it's V2.
It's V2.
V2?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not 7, it's V2.
It's intentionally obtuse. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love that.
And 6 p.m., Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza 6 demo also, Ben. Ben's doing lots of streaming this week. Where can everyone go to absorb all that is Firewatch before they can actually get the game on PC and PS4 next week?
You
Your
can
brand new
see-
website.
You can see everything at firewatchgame.com. And the game is up right now for pre-sale on Steam. Not on PSN, just because of scheduling stuff. No other reason. Yeah, so you could actually, if you really like this, you can go get it right now. It's 10% off through launch week. It'll be 10% off on PS Plus for PS Plus members. We're going to do a soundtrack bundle on Steam. There's
Great.
going to be a premium theme on PS4. The theme is amazing. It's all Ollie's work. It's gorgeous, and it's my favorite thing in the world. And yeah, we just redid firewatchgame.com. It's a beautiful website. Chris, Jake, and Ollie just made an amazing website, so check it out.
And they're not letting me score it until next week, but I can tell you right now, I like it a lot.
Thanks, man.
It's a very beautiful game.
Thank
Huber
you.
has spoken as much. The performances are really
I
great.
think reviews are probably coming out Monday. The
Yep.
game comes out on Tuesday, so I think it's we want to definitely have reviews out before you could put your money where your mouth was or heart is or whatever.
Unless you
that
buy
was
it
a
now.
poor use metaphor. Yeah. So reviews will be out on Monday.
What is it, Kyle? What?
Do you care if people follow you on Twitter, or is that you don't even?
I mean, I like it. It's nice.
Why don't you
I
tell-
will talk to you. My
Yeah.
my Twitter handle is @Vanaman, VANAMAN, Van-A-Man.
That feels pretty good to get your own last name.
Oh yeah. It was pretty great.
Were you there on the ground floor to get your last name?
Man, I wonder if I can tell the story.
Please do.
So my best friend.
I know Brandon is killing Brandon, but
know.
I want to hear
my
this story.
Okay, my childhood best friend
Yeah.
briefly worked at Twitter for a while.
Yeah.
And for my birthday, discovered that the person who had @Vanaman had not logged into their account for like 6 years. And then on my birthday, like he was my roommate at the time, and like knocked on my door. And he was like, "Hey man, wake up!" He's like, "I got your birthday present right here." And he was just holding a laptop, and there was this like the Twitter.com backend that was like, "Destroy this account." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Boop!" And he's like, "You are now @Vanaman." I was @Sean Vanaman, like whatever. And I was like, "You're the best friend I could ever have." He'll never get hired again.
Oh, that's
His name
so
is
good.
not going to be said.
Sure, absolutely. That's a great story.
I wish I could get @Jones.
Yeah, that
You
would
gotta
be
know
a
somebody.
tougher get.
I can't even get
Yeah.
@Jonesley Lake at this point. It's just,
Yeah.
Did you
too
try
much.
at Jonesy Lane?
My
No, I
college
wish I
roommate
could.
was named
Okay.
Brandon Jones. It was
Oh,
very
really?
confusing when you emailed me.
Brandon Jones was a very big, I believe, college basketball draft pick.
That wasn't him.
College sports. I'm not sure if it was
Sportsman,
I'm
ball
not sure
player.
if it was. Yeah, some college
Patrick
sport.
Ewing alike.
I think he was the number 2 draft pick today because Brandon Jones was trending today on Twitter.
Well, today,
But,
Brandon
what
have
Jones
I
is
done?
trending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me. Thank you so much for watching,
Bye, guys.
Mr. Mike Huber. Thank you for playing through the game.
He is the best.
It's been a pleasure.
Huber's intense,
I
man.
love this game.
Yeah, it's
so
gonna be hard to
much.
wrestle that. That's my PS4, Huber. I'm taking
love
that with
it
me after
so
the show.
much.
But he's hooked, man.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
You got him.
I cannot
You don't
wait.
have to wait very long.
Thank you, Kyle, for going to our community. Thank you,
yeah.
everybody, for asking awesome questions. We will have more stuff to give away next week. Maybe a copy of Firewatch.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Thank you, Ian. Are you pumped, Ian? Firewatch is your kind of game.
I'm
I was
very
just chatting about
pumped.
Firewatch, and you were like, "Shut up, Jones." I haven't played it yet.
I'm real pumped. Thankfully, I didn't see much that I hadn't already played.
excited about anything.
It's true.
Please let me go home.
Stay in the box, Ian. And
I wish an hour ago I've realized that was the main camera because I've been talking to that one. Bye, guys.
he can
No,
follow
you
you.
can talk to, if you
No,
talk to
you
that
were
one.
talking to yours. It was what
Yeah,
Jones
go ahead.
should do.
Oh, cool. You were going to camera one?
Yeah. Hold on, Dad.
Hi, guys.
Camera 1,
Yeah.
Camera two?
camera 2,
We just this
camera
little
1.
butterfly
camera
for no
2.
reason flying around.
Yeah.
Oh, not for no reason. A guy named Mark Wood put that in the game.
nice butterfly, Mark.
Mark Wood.
Good job.
So you just had the reaction I had when I played the game and Mark put butterflies in the game. I was walking around. I was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "We got a piece of the geometry flying away. Something's going on. Something's getting weird." And I was like, "That is art that he made. Thanks, dude." And I was like,
So
"Hey, man, I saw you
awesome.
put butterflies in the game." I was like, "Thought I needed
Oh
it."
man, there may be no greater crunch than a beautiful butterfly
go
flying
find the
off in the
camera and
distance.
take a
We got to
photo
end on
of
that.
it.
Kyle, I just said we got to end on that, Kyle.
Okay.
We got to end. You can
want-
ask him to it. We can end the show.